So this TCW podcast, I'm joined today by Bobby Clanton, my manager. Thanks for joining us today, Bobby.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, just getting into it. Obviously, you spent 18 months, didn't you, at Marine as a player? How was that for you, like, and how did they compare to obviously the clubs? I know you played in the football league, didn't you? So how did they compare, really?
Um, well, coming to Marine was, I'd stopped playing for, I think it was 15 months from professional football. Obviously, I'd been into player manager at Radcliffe after I'd finished playing. But when I got the call off Marine, I actually got approached off them in the summer of that season. And I was on holiday, and for whatever reason, it didn't work. Well, it didn't happen, should I say. But when they rang me in, I think it was it the January? I think they
Yeah,
lost the year 5-1 to Hyde, was it?
yeah, it was. Well, it was
And
4-1, but yeah, it came in.
then I got a message that following week asking would I still be interested, and I said that absolutely. But a big thing I did say to Neil at the time, because he was the manager, was, I need to come and see what Marina like, and you need to see what sort of condition I'm in, if
Yeah,
you like, because if we're going to commit to something, then it has to work for both parties. It can't just be you know, not a panic, but you bring me in based on,
yeah,
you need someone in of that experience, but it also has to work for the football club, not just me.
yeah.
Um, and I'll be honest, it was probably the best football decision I've ever made. In terms of, okay, I made my debut at 16 in the Football League, but in terms of coming into Marine and achieving what we did, I think it is one of, if not the best decision I've ever made joining a football club for sure.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you just talked about it with to getting the promotion and that, but obviously when the job does come available, what's the driving force for you to apply for the job? Because obviously you said that obviously you liked the club, you was pretty popular, weren't you? Do you know what I mean? And I think it is a bit of a risk when you obviously get the job. It is a bit of a risk, isn't it? Because you go from that player, and then when you're a manager, like I used an example really, and I would say on a different level. But remember, Graham Souness was a wonderful player for Liverpool. He's not
Yeah.
really, obviously, with the bad stint he has as a manager, he's not really seen as the same, like as if like a Gerrard kind of thing, isn't it? So
And
what was the driving force? You really did that not
um,
really matter, and you just thought, I just now I can do this basically.
yeah, I think, coming in as a player and, having the relationship I have with you, with the
Yeah,
fans, with the club, down to playing and just creating them bonds and being from the area and living in the area. You know, it was a massive sort of, when I stopped playing and I knew Neil was going, you know, I had to interview twice, which was great because again, it took me out my comfort zone. And when I finally got the call that I was taking the job, it was a case of, I've earned that. They haven't just given me it based on my playing career here and based on, my relationship with you and based on, I've actually earned it. But in terms of did I have them questions that you're asking me? 100%. 100% because, I live here and, you go for a coffee and people say, well done, that was, you've been great, blah, blah, blah. And
yeah,
they're nice things to hear. To know that you help the place where you live and the club where you live, and you have that relationship with the people of the club and the fans, and was it a bit scary to sort of think like that? 100%, 100%, because I was thinking if this goes wrong, then it's my own fault because I put myself in a position. And a big thing is, as a manager, fans, players, they have a right to ask questions. They have a right to voice their opinion. And to be fair to Youngie, he asked me that question. He basically said to me, Bobby, you live in the area, and you know the fans here, they're passionate. They
yeah,
care about the football club. They want to win. Um, Everything from being a player. So he just wanted to make sure that I was prepared for the what if, because
yeah,
at some point we're going to go through a sticky patch. We went through it a few weeks back,
yeah,
and you know I hear it all. People tell me it all. But it's part and parcel of football, and I honestly believe I can take this club to a level it's never been. But it has to take you, the fans, me, the club, the board, all of us to try and pull in that right direction. And I'm not always right. But one thing I can honestly say and guarantee, I give everything that I've got to the football club in terms of work ethic. I don't know any other way.
Yeah. I mean, can just touch on that. I mean, I don't want to go into too much, but obviously there was a big criticism, wasn't there? Like obviously the games, and then obviously players have left. Obviously a very play that was well liked, isn't it? I don't want to go right into that, but obviously how difficult was that at the time for you? Because obviously you did get a bit of criticism. I'm sure you've seen it, haven't you? Like on social media and stuff like that. But I mean, how difficult was that for you? Because obviously, I want the fans to hear like your side of it, really.
Yeah, I think that the big thing that I've learned, and I was probably guilty of it as a player in terms of when when you take a job as a manager, I can't just come out and say this is what's happened, this is how it's happened, and
Yeah,
this is what's gone on. But in terms of the situation that we're talking about, because we all know the situation,
yeah,
um, you know, I had a gentleman's agreement, a great conversation in the summer regarding fitness and regarding levels that it's going to take to play for me and to play for this football club, because I don't, I didn't take this job based on us being happy to stay in the league.
yeah,
I haven't got them ambitions, and you know every single player that came back to this football club agreed to get themselves in the best possible condition to play for Marine. Every single player, and when it come to it, that wasn't the outcome, if you like. And you give people chance, which was what happened. And you come back and I have messages where it's I'm ready to go. Okay, no problem. I trust every player,
yeah.
and then you know you come back and the fitness levels aren't there, and all of a sudden I'm the worst person in the world because I'm not playing yet and I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. But the reality is, if it if you're fit enough and you're producing performances, you will play, because ultimately that's where we're at as a football club. But when you agree to something, which I won't go into details because it's not the
Yeah,
right thing to
of
do,
course, yeah.
but when you agree to something and you tell everyone you've got the best interest of a football club, and because people know you and people you've been here a long time, it's easily believed. But the reality is, if that was the case, he'd still be here.
Yeah,
That's the whole top and bottom of it. Because as a person, I have nothing but the highest things to say about it and about him as a person, because you know it's never personal. The whole top and bottom of this decision was based around football and doing what's best for this football club and producing a team and a standard. If you get to them levels, you will be involved in this football club.
yeah,
But if you don't, then I have to have a decision to make, because people above me, believe it or not, ask questions. So
yeah,
I have to go, like you ask me questions regarding team, and rightly so. I have to answer questions to the board and to people above me.
yeah, yeah,
And when I look at where I want to get to and where I want this team and you deserve to go to, and the club does, then we can't be feeling sorry for people and sort of just letting people do what they want, if you like, because the legends here, or because they've got, if
but
that makes sense.
yeah, of course, it does. Yeah, I mean, I'll use an example. To be fair, obviously, I've been watching him for 10 years, and but the year before we got relegated, I felt the team, with the manager at the time, the team, it was just a gang of mates, and I just felt like there was no really accountability. So I totally get what you're saying there. To be honest, like,
That's the big word in that is the accountability. And when every player I've brought in, I've sat down with and said, okay, what are you going to bring to this football club to take us to the next level. Because
yeah,
these are the non-negotiables. You have to be fit. And I don't mean fit to play non-league football. I mean fit in terms of your life, your lifestyle.
yeah,
What are you doing away from Marine to make sure that you're in the best possible shape and physicality to play for us? Because if you're not, then you can't operate at the levels we need to win games at this level, because there's a lot of full-time teams.
yeah. I'll see the next one. More for the fans there, but how is your like relation with? Because obviously, like some fans might not realise, but what's your relation with you in terms of like the structure and like and recruitment, like kind of thing? You know, obviously, I imagine you have final say on who comes in and that, but
Yeah.
how does that work, kind of thing? You know, really.
Do you know what? Youngie, to be fair, has been not. He's been absolutely superb for me in terms of he's let me do it my way. And I've seen a lot of sporting directors at other clubs. I've seen it higher and I've seen it at this level, who they take a step back, or they want that position because they want to control things but not have any responsibility on what they're doing,
Yeah,
so that they can throw people under the bus for not good decisions that they're making. If you're like, I've seen it all. And, you know, one thing that Neil has done is he's supported everything that I'm doing. And I've asked him for advice, 100%. I have, in terms of, when I was going through that difficult period when we lost 4 on the spin, and it went through lack of trying. There was a few other issues that we had to do, and the players we had to bring in and get rid of, and try and create the right balance, and go from a style of play under the manager that had been here for 6, 7 years and been really successful to new ideas, etc. So,
yeah.
he fully supported that. And he always asks if I'm okay. And what the biggest part for me is I can focus fully on the football.
Yeah,
I can focus on bringing players in, and Neil deals with the off field stuff of above me. And so the only person who I really have to communicate with regarding transfers or issues in the dressing room is Neil, and I have a great relationship with him from playing. So that in that respect, it's really good. And you know what, I'm delighted to have him. I hope it remains like this in terms of our relationship.
yeah.
Because if it doesn't, then obviously, there'd be conversations to have. But in terms of at this moment in time, me and Neil have a really, really good relationship. And I think you can see that with the way the players are going, with the way the club's functioning. It only takes one piece of that jigsaw to be out, and it affects the whole ship from fans right the way through.
I think you see that like in the Premier League, don't you, with like sporting directors where they like, as you just said there, they like to get involved in all transfers and stuff, but then when it goes to shit, it's like man, it's all the manager's fault, isn't it? So I mean, so I get what he's saying.
And that was it was a big thing for me as well. As when I took the job, it was a case of, okay, what's the structure here?
Yeah,
What is there? Because if you want a whipping boy, if you like, then I think you all know me. I'm not that person. And you know, I listen. I do listen. I do take things on board. And if whether it's a fan opinion, whether it's Neil's opinion, whether it's the staff, and if I think, hang on a minute, they've seen something I've missed it,
yeah,
then 1,000,000%, because it's the only way to learn. And as a manager, I'm a young manager and I'm learning. I have a philosophy and an idea of how I think we can get to where we need to get to, and how I think we can keep improving. But I'm also learning, and not just off people in football, off people in general, yourselves. You see something that I might not see, and I think, hang on a minute, I might not give you the credit when I'm talking to you and be like, hey, you were right there.
yeah.
But when you go away and you think, you think, hang on, okay, well, if they're seeing that, then it must have been flat, or it must have, in terms of whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when you said you never be like that, I use examples that your little lad's 10, he's a bit timid and like shy, and we were winning against Telford 2-1. I think a ball came on, someone missed a header, and you were shouting and all that, and he was going, he's not very happy that we're winning, is he? And so I had to explain, why did you were happy about the free kick getting given and stuff like that. So I was like, quite funny,
I just,
really.
someone asked me a question the other day, and it was a great question. It was like, do you think you'll ever sort of calm down on the side of the pitch? And I said, I don't. I said, listen, I can't apologise for caring as much as I do. I think would I calm down at a different football club? Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Because, but where I am and where I live and what this represents for me and using the people where I'm from, I feel as though I'm carrying responsibility for all of us.
yeah,
If you, that's just my thought process, and I still not see myself, but I've only just stopped playing, so
yeah,
I still want to protect them lads. So when I see the likes of your Finn Sinclair Smith taking a tough tackle, and I can't be on that pitch to take it for him and to
yeah,
sort of protect them, if you like.
yeah,
You try and find it in another way.
yeah,
Uh, but again, it's a massive learning curve for me, and you
yeah,
know, something. It's only because I care. It's not because I don't. I want to shout at the lads. I don't.
yeah, yeah,
I want the lads to win because you deserve that type of performance. You deserve that type
yeah,
of sort of commitment to our club. It's not a case of listen. If you're not committed and you're telling everyone you are committed, you'll get found out
yeah, yeah. Well,
because
I was sitting there saying, I was sitting there saying to me, because my dad's only just started watching football to you, and I was just explaining, like, obviously, because like, if the team gets a set piece, it's a dangerous situation, isn't it? So I was just explaining that for him. But you see, obviously, Sussex beyond this season in the league, on the league position. I mean, what I've noticed is that you, I feel like Marine now are not scared to take on teams like like we were talking about Gibbon, is that I don't feel we would be scared. Whereas last season, I felt maybe there would have been a bit of trepidation, thinking, "Oh, we're playing an ex-football league team." But I mean, what do you
yeah.
see that's improved, and what have you tried to like implement as your style? How you want me
Yeah,
to.
think I think again, great question because you can learn. I learn from the questions because I look at Marine and I look at the level we're playing at,
Yeah,
and listen, there's some big budgets in this league, big budgets, but that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. I believe if we prepare properly and we go about our business and get our intensity where it needs to be. And we do show the lads, you know, little bits about the opposition and where they could possibly hurt us. Um, but I think if you're overcautious and you give loads and loads of information about the opposition, your players become, oh, we don't want to concede, we don't want to lose. When no, fuck that. We're here to win. We're here to
yeah,
win. No team at this level, none, deserves the respect for us to go bang and sit into the low block. That's in my opinion as a manager. And I think the minute you take that negative approach, it's hard to get back out of it.
yeah,
And I think with the players and the squad that we've now got in play as we speak now, I think we're more than good enough to go toe to toe with teams. And I say to my players, I trust you to go man for man, which means the only players that should be a 2v1 or is our centre backs if the opposition plays a one against us. But
yeah,
in terms in the midfield, in the wide areas, I say to my players, listen, this is on you because you're man for man. So if you get the better of your man, and if we do more across the pitch than we don't, we win the game or we get a positive result. But if you're going to create an excuse and you can't go toe to toe with him, then you won't play.
yeah. And I mean, I think because I do listen to like interviews some opposition managers after games, and the big thing I think we're getting the respect for is a lot of mention how it's a physical game and a bit
Yeah.
complaining and I think that's music to probably your ears, isn't it? That they're talking like that because they know they're not going to get an easy
I,
game.
I just think, yeah, I love that. I love that because we're not a soft touch. That we're not a soft touch as a football club, and that's not. I'm not saying we're this big. We're not. We're. I think people misunderstand it sometimes. Of we're aggressive in terms of our running power,
Yeah,
and unfortunately, what do you want us to do? Just be this soft touch and let you just play? Well, no, we're high tempo. We try and produce an intensity that is horrible to play against.
yeah,
Because then when you get the ball back, it means you've got more time and more areas to be able to move them, and you catch teams out, etc., etc. And I want to win the ball back higher up the pitch, because then you've only got 30 yards to go to score. Whereas if you sit off, and you're inviting pressure, you win the ball back, you've got 70 yards to score.
yeah,
So I look at it and I think my opposition managers do respect us. I think they've come to understand that, hang on a minute, these are a good side. These if these produce the levels and intensity and standards that we have done in the last 5 6 weeks, we can beat any team at this level. 100% we can.
yeah. And I just go on. How was the shift like from player to manager changed? Obviously, how you see the club and the game, because obviously all these lads last season were probably your mates, and you go on with them. How difficult has it been to be? Because you have to shift from that, really, don't you? As you've said before, if you don't do what you want them to do, then don't play.
Yeah.
So has that been difficult to do that, or
Do you know what? It was hard. It was hard. It was. And I'm not going to sit here and say, because I'm having conversations with lads who, you know, I'm having to tell them they're no longer part of what we're doing at the football club. But I don't want you to take that personally. I know you're going to take it personally, because I took it personally when I played. Not every manager, but it's hard for me to sort of say, you're going for this reason, when I've shared the dressing room with them, and they've got young kids and they've got young families, and you feel as though do you overthink it? Yeah, you do. So I'll give you an example. So like, say Chris, who has gone from the football club, and I had a great relationship with Chris, in my opinion. He might tell you different now, I don't know, but nothing was, as a player, in a dressing room, as a person, outstanding. In terms of where it's at, as a manager, and having to make a decision that I think is beneficial for the group and the team, and having a conversation with him of the reasons why.
yeah,
That was hard. That was hard, and I understood people's feelings, but
yeah,
again, you when you're sitting in a managerial role, it's of a football club. Again, that's just an example. I found it hard, and did I overthink that conversation in my head so many times afterwards? 100% I did. 100% I did, because I'm sitting there thinking. But then when I looked at everything we spoke about in the summer, everything we spoke about through the season, everything we spoke about through the season up until the game at Darlington,
yeah,
that's what made me go, hang on a minute. I believe it was the right thing to do.
yeah,
Football club, and then I had to answer to the people above me, and because they were banging the drum for a while before that, and you can only give people so many chances. They've got to want to do it, and it's all right. People saying to yourselves, "I'm fit, I'm available, I'm this, I'm that." Okay, well, if you don't train and you haven't done a pre-season and you haven't played any games, where'd you get your match fitness from? And I'm still trying to find that answer now. I don't understand where you can get your match fitness from.
yeah. I think
If
also,
you know,
I think also, obviously, as manager, you live in. I don't know what you think, like, but you live and die by your decisions, don't you? So, you know,
100%. I
okay,
just, and I look at, you know, we aren't a football club. Let's be totally honest here. We're not a football club that can just bring in player after player after player and still keep that player, and allow them all the time in the world to get themselves to a level that is suitable to play. Yeah, we have to get players out to bring players in, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
that's just the structure. You know, I'd love to have a war chest and just go, yeah, we can go and get all of these and keep every single player happy and keep all the families happy. I'd love it. Nothing better because that's me as a person. But the reality is we haven't got that. So for us to bring players in, we have to get players out.
I also think that what I'll go on something else, but that's what makes me so great. I think because I think like you have yourself who's very passionate about me, and then the fans, and then it just does feel like it's us against like the league or the world or the kind of thing. So I think that's what makes us great, to be honest. But obviously, does it feel like obviously like with like 18 games in, does this now feel like a team that represents yourself and the fans? Because obviously, early in the season when we had injuries, it kind of like fell apart. Whereas we've had loads of injuries in the last few weeks, and nothing's really like changed. Or you could say certain players have, we've missed their quality, but the standard's still been the same, hasn't it? Really. So do you think that this team
I
now's
think
reflecting you?
100%. And, you know, ask any manager. And I think fans are, a lot of fans are a lot more clued up than they make out. If I'm being honest, and I think sometimes they have an opinion based on, as you said, their favourites, but deep down they know where it's at, and every manager in the world will tell you if you have one or two who aren't pulling in the right direction in your dressing room, you can never get the momentum to where it needs to be. And I've been in them dressing rooms myself, and the biggest turning point for me as a manager is when I have players, young and old, knocking on my office saying he's not pulling his weight, he's not pulling his weight, and
Yeah,
I'm sat thinking, wow, they've just cemented the thought process that I'm thinking,
yeah,
and it was time to change, and we were losing games of football. We lost to South Shields. We were excellent that day, but then we won three on the spin. We won three on the spin, and it was great. But then it still wasn't right. It still wasn't, and you could feel, and I could feel that something was. Even though we were winning them games, something was missing. It wasn't right. That the vibe, the atmosphere, it just weren't there. So then, when we were losing, and I'm going away and I'm thinking, something. And then the lads start knocking on the door saying, hell, there's some negativity, there's some negative people in there. And I'm like, whoa, there's our problem. There's our problem. Because when there's negativity, it breeds and it breeds and it breeds, especially when you're losing. So we brought in players to fit within our budget and structure of we tried to recruit the quality that this football club deserves and attracts. And we've done that, and we've brought in some big characters in terms of their personalities. And you should come in and see it one time of a Thursday or a Tuesday. The atmosphere now in the dressing room is unbelievable,
yeah,
unbelievable. So from you feed off that, and the players feed off it. So when we've lost Ashunta for a long term. He's out for the season. He's long term. We lost Matty McDonald, who's been unbelievable since he got himself where he needed to be. But he done it away from the club. He got himself to his peak away from the football club. That wasn't a fluke. That was that kid invested in himself and worked hard to get himself to the levels needed. Harvey Gregson, we lost at the weekend. Lee Whelan, we lost. James Butler, we lost at Alfreton because of the pitch. Again, massive player for us.
yeah,
So again, Lewis Bell, we're looking at that, and the lads just rallied round them.
yeah,
They weren't sulking, they weren't feeling sorry for themselves. They're turning up to all the games, they're supporting the lads, and that gives you that energy to go and produce, and then you go out and use it there with us, and use it giving it back to us, and it's like, okay, hang on, we are having a go here,
yeah.
and we are getting a little bit of momentum, and
Yeah.
you know what, we're going to lose a game of football, but at this moment in time, we are giving it every last ounce of energy we have for the
Yeah.
football club. That's all I can ask for, and if they do that, we'll win more than we lose for sure.
I think that's the biggest thing for me because I was thinking like when we had all these injuries and then we were playing Tuesday, Saturday for about 3 weeks. Obviously, we had a week off this week. I did feel the worst thinking, but you got to say
You
fair play
you
to
did. I'll be honest. I know. I might look like I'm fronting it, right? Listen. I've had some sleepless nights. Let me tell you, I've
them.
had a right to them.
But I mean, we look obviously look the same now. You're 10th on 27 points from 18 games. You're only one
Yeah.
point off the playoffs. I mean, I know you talked about the players, but it's been an unbelievable start, really, hasn't it? Like kind of thing. I mean, did you expect this, like, or you just, do you know what I mean?
You know what? No, I didn't. I didn't expect us to sort of produce as quick as we have in terms of. But I watched a lot of football last year, and when I was injured, I sat there and I didn't just sit there to be this. Oh, I'm watching a game of footy. I sat there thinking, do you know what? I'd love to have a go at it one day. Not a. I think I would get this job. No, I didn't think Neil would step down. I didn't. But I've done so much learning and so much with me time off. And I'll be honest, I always thought and realised that if you can create the right environment and the right atmosphere and you can get your energy levels up, I honestly believed, yeah, Marine could go because I think this football club's got a special way of achieving things. And that I think that's why people look at us a little bit differently because everyone sees us as this underdog, and everyone still thinks we're spending this money off Tottenham and all that nonsense. Well, the reality is we invested that properly, and
Yeah,
it got us a football club that we've got now. But in terms of us as a club, it's based on hard work. The fans turn up here, they've worked hard through the week, they turn up here and they get with the lads and they have a passion to be with the lads. And if you go against the lads, then you're going to have to answer to them. It's as simple as that.
yeah.
But that's the mentality. And I think now people are starting to look at us and think, hang on a minute. No, they're doing it properly then.
Yeah.
And
I
that,
thought it was quite interesting that obviously you talk about you'd like a go of it. I went to Hereford last season and you went in the stands and you were taking notes and I thought that was the first time I thought, you know why you could be actually the next me manager because I thought it was quite interesting because obviously most lads when they're injured, obviously they do their own thing, but they're not like that. It just that did catch me eye the way you did that. Like to be fair, when we were at Hereford,
the reason being is because I sat there and, listen, I cried at that game. I absolutely cried because, what's his name? I won't name names, but he was
oh,
giving it. Oh, mate, he gave that linesman that much stick, right? I still laugh about it to this day. It's one of the funniest away games I've ever seen, right? And I was trying to make notes on the team, right? And how we could affect the game, etc., a bit better. And all I could see was him charging up and down. He got through out twice and was still in the ground. I've never seen it before in my life.
he's actually part of TCW and it's like a big joke.
Mate, he got through out. He got told to leave the ground twice and still found himself because it's a double tier, isn't it? He was
Yeah,
downstairs giving him stick. Then he come back up and was giving him stick. I couldn't believe how he kept getting back in.
but yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant.
So yeah, so just obviously update on the injuries. As you mentioned, Hunter's out for the season, isn't he? Butler probably is, isn't it? Like Wardle, Matthew MacDonald, and Gregson. Do you have like an update on how they're doing? Like,
Yeah, it's you know what? I'm fuming. We got the scans to be honest, because he couldn't have come back anyway. Um, Listen, we had to get them because they were serious injuries, but when you're trying to get some positivity out of them, and looking, thinking they're big players for us, then. So Ash Hunter he's a cruciate. So we're just waiting to see what the specialist says in terms of whether it needs surgery or whether it'll heal itself. Um, if it's surgery, it'll be longer. Um, but if it's not, then it'll still be long, but not as long. So I don't think we can give him a time frame at this moment.
yeah,
Matthew MacDonald will be. I think he was about 10 weeks. But he's already been out for 4, I think 3. So that's and it's not good, but he's getting the treatment and he's sort of doing his rehab to road to recovery.
Yeah,
James Butler had a bit of a nightmare, to be honest, in terms of the doctors, not doctors, the hospital and the people he spoke to at the start said he didn't need surgery, so put him in a boot. And then he went back to see the specialist to see how it was healing, and the specialist said why hasn't he had surgery? So he then had to have that operated on. So Butts was gutted, really gutted. But he gets the boot out. I think he's out the boot this week, so he can then start his rehab. So we're hopeful we'll have him back, possibly just after Christmas, maybe.
yeah.
Which would be great for us.
Your voice is not, you can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, go on, mate.
Yeah, so Butler, did you get all that on Butler? Yeah.
You mentioned about he didn't get the right
Yeah, he didn't
treatment, did
get
he?
the right opinion at the start from the A&E.
Yeah,
They put him in a boot, told him it didn't need surgery on, and then when he went back to see the specialist said he couldn't believe it hadn't been operated on.
yeah,
So we're hoping to have Butts back. He's meant to be coming out of his boot in the next week or so, and then, without putting a time frame on him, I think he wants to be back maybe New Year,
yeah,
which will be a great boost for the group because he was outstanding for us and he's a threat and he's a top player. So we'll be delighted to have him back. Lee Whelan, he's done a bit of work this morning with Stammers at the club. So, if he comes through that, he's closer than anyone. Belly's back. Have we missed anyone off there?
just Ward and Gregson, man.
So sorry, Gregson. We're just waiting for the assessment of that.
Yeah,
Hopefully that's not too bad because again, massive player for the football club, massive player for me.
yeah,
Josh is available. He had a bad problem with his foot, but again was dosing himself up on painkillers to play for the team, to play for. But we're lucky that we've got Zech and I know there with Brownie, with Odin, that we didn't have to rush Josh back. But Josh is fit. Josh is available now, so
right.
it's a case of. But again, this shows character of what Josh is and the reason why he was made captain of the football club again under me, because I could have picked anyone.
Yeah,
But on Saturday, he sort of, I asked him how he felt. I said, bet you can't wait to play. Get back out there. He said, oh, listen, I'm ready to go. And then he basically just said, but you can't change a winning team.
to be
And
fair,
I'm looking.
I was by the changes for the game. He said exactly the same thing to me.
Yeah, and you know what? I looked at him and I'm thinking, okay. But when you think to yourself, there's your captain there
Yeah,
who's desperate to play, but he knows how well the lads have done.
yeah,
And the support that he's given the lads, myself, the way he goes about his business, mate, is top. So yeah, Josh is fit. Josh is back. And then obviously we brought Charlie in to strengthen our forwards options.
no, touch on Charlie actually, because I was going to say, and I forgot about it just then, but it just reminded me. Just a little bit about him. Obviously, we know he's come from Fard, and he's obviously a quality player, isn't he? So, what were
Yeah.
the plans of the group? Like?
So we brought Charlie. We tried to sign Charlie in the summer. We identified him as, well, I did, as one of the players that could take us to that level in terms of as a forward in this league and above. To add with Newley, who we brought in, and Fylde wouldn't let him out. The full time. The cost would have been big, a lot bigger than what we could we could come with. And we ended up leaving it, but then he wasn't playing, so we made contact with Fylde, and we said we'd love to have him. And the biggest compliment I can give Charlie is he wanted to come to Marine. He
Yeah,
was like, I want to come to, because he seen what we were doing when we played them here. We should have beat them, It was a stonewall penalty, and he liked what he's seen. So I had the conversation with him. Youngie dealt with
Yeah.
the off all that side of things. And yeah, I had a conversation with him, and I said, listen, I'd love to have you at the football club. He'll score goals for Marine, 100% he will. So had with Newley, so had with Finn.
Yeah.
And when Matty Mack returns, we've got Lewis Bell, who's blessed with pace, we haven't seen the best of Belly yet, but he's a young lad, he's learning. So yeah, we're in it. It's mad because I'm looking at him thinking we're in a really, really good position. And some of the players we've got missing, we've got an unbelievable squad. We really have, and for how we've gone about it, and it is a team that represents Marine, and I do sit back sometimes and think, wow, we've produced an half decent team here, but again, there's so much work to be done. There's so much. There's so much potential that they can reach, and I honestly believe if they continue to go about how they're going about it, that they can achieve anything for the football club. And my message is, I want a team that represents us,
Yeah.
and I include fans, myself, because I want a team that represents, and it's high intensity, it's ruthless, it's horrible to play against, it's clinical in front of goal. And I know we weren't that on Saturday, but it went through like a trying. On another day, we win that game 3 or 4.
No, no, no. That's what I mean. I think, as you said, I can only speak for myself. Like I work nights, like so, like I work Friday night, so like on a Saturday and I'm tired and all that. But the way we play is exactly the way I want to see my team watching and play. Like the high
Yeah,
intensity.
and
You
you
know,
know what? No, if we lose to a moment of quality, then I can accept that. I can
yes,
accept that, but what I can't accept, and the reason why it was frustrating then when we lost them 4 on the spin is, losing to Fylde. Listen, that hurt. It hurt. Don't. It never. But I said to the lads, when you get clapped up off losing, that shows that you've still delivered a performance
yeah,
that represents us. But when you get clapped off, um, you don't get clapped off, and you lose heavily because you haven't done it properly, and you're looking for excuses, and it's flat. I said I wouldn't sing for that, and that was my message to them in the dressing room. I wouldn't cheer if you're not going to give it back 110% with that. Then
yeah,
why would I cheer?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I get it, because if I weren't the manager of this club, I'd come and support, so I'd be stood with you, and I'm not cheering shite.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Obviously, you talked about recruiting players and that. How tough is like I do feel we've the players we've brought in have been at higher standards. You think Anton Drysdale, you're obviously looking at Jolly, but how hard is it to recruit? Because you look talk about some of the clubs in this league have got either
Yeah.
or they're backed by really rich people, aren't they? So
It, it,
how tough is
you
it
know
to
what? I didn't realise how tough it was. If I'm going to be honest, I, I knew it was tough from speaking to me. You're being in his office.
you just your voice gone a bit low.
Sorry, mate.
Go on.
Just from speaking to Neil, and from last year being in his office, and I didn't realise how hard it was. He told me it was difficult
Yeah,
to attract and recruit, just based on that, and players wanting full time, and etc. etc. And they want X, Y, and Z, and you're like, wow. So in my head, I was thinking, no, we've got the contacts now in the game, non-league and football league, where we can have them conversations. Um, but I think when we got rid of the players we got rid of, and in the summer, I was thinking, wow, we need to bring in some players
yeah,
who are capable. But the biggest lesson I learned was not to rush nothing. Was not to Because I was having conversations that were really, really positive, and Youngie was having good, positive conversations with agents, and because you're having to deal with everything,
yeah,
and you know, it was a case of the patience paid off in terms of the Ash Hunter.
yeah,
He just wanted to enjoy his footy. Matty McDonald again, someone who we'd watched and looked at for a while. Bailey Marsden. So the recruitment side of it was being patient, but bringing the right players into Marine that could represent us and take us to that next level. So taking us to that next level and not having to rebuild a full squad.
Yeah.
Taking us to the next level, and then, if we get to that next level, which I believe we're more than capable of, I really, really do, then you're not having to rebuild the whole structure of your team. You're having to add 2 or 3 for quality to take you or keep you at that level, if that makes sense.
I think that's helped, like, sorry to put it to you, but I think that's helped you in terms, like, when you come in, there was a good, like, nucleus of a team, and you haven't come
100%.
into kind of like a shit show, basically, have you? You haven't come into
100 million percent. So, you come in and you're keeping your Gregsons, your Whelans, your Wardles, your Butlers.
yeah,
You're looking around and you're thinking, okay, here we go. We're actually not having to rebuild a full structure yet. Do we need better players and better sort of standards? In my opinion, yeah, 100%. And if we didn't, we would have finished higher than 15th.
yeah,
And again, it's just a case of we've got that now. And the challenge to the lads is, and it's really quite simple. I say to the lads, if you want to go and win this game of football, lads, then get your attitude and your intensity up, because your ability's there. That's a fact.
yeah,
And the only way you get beat is if one player doesn't want to do his job, or you can't be asked.
yeah.
And if you can't be asked,
Your voice has gone a bit there,
but
Bobby.
I won't be hiding. Well,
Go on, no, the voice went, sorry, mate.
yeah, I performance. Don't expect me to be hiding behind and fucking defending this, and this. I said, I'm as honest as they come. I can defend losing
Yeah,
in the right way, but I can't defend people that can't be asked, and I won't defend people that can't be asked, because that doesn't represent us. And if you produce that, you'll lose.
yeah. Just a little, obviously, they had the sad news, and people, well, they did kind of laugh at when when you asked about will you still be in 33 years' time, like, but a little obviously touch on like what you think is, is obviously 33 years, and obviously the legacy leaves behind, because obviously
Yeah,
it's never going to
mate.
happen, is it?
I'm telling you, I'm telling you now. I've worked under some good managers, mate. Some good managers, and John Coleman, for instance, managed Dachi for so many years,
Yeah,
and Sir Alex. You're looking around, and I haven't worked for Sir Alex. Obviously, I would have loved to, but I haven't. But what I'm saying is, you're looking at these top managers as well, mate. To do it at one club for
incredible.
33, that is never. If that gets beat, mate, there's not a chance. There's not a chance in this world, while any of us are alive, that's ever
I
going to get
don't think
beaten,
it'll happen either as well, because like you look at like social media now. I think back then is probably didn't have any of that. The way
mate.
these days and stuff like
And
that.
see that. No, when you take a step back and you look at that, and the way people think about him at Marine, the way people talk about him at Marine,
Yeah,
the way you done that tribute to him, that speaks volumes, mate.
yeah,
That speaks volumes. How one man, to be fair, um, can do that and be at one club. That's loyalty, mate.
yeah,
And we talk about legends and we talk about loyalty. There's levels, mate, because
yeah,
that fella done 33 years. That's legend, mate. That's
yeah.
that's legends, and with all due respect, mate, they should be putting a painting of him outside. Not,
Well, yeah, well, I said that there,
and I
Twitter.
don't listen. I don't know that the lad who's outside, and he might be a club legend.
Well,
I
I
don't
think
know.
he scored the goal, didn't he, against Sutton? No, sorry, yeah, I can't remember the team. Having to Waterloo, that was it. It goes to
Oh, okay, mate.
Tottenham, really. So he scored 120-minute winner to
Okay, well there you go. So
yeah,
he's another legend, but
yeah,
I'm not being funny, mate. When your manager's done 33 years
yeah,
and he's passed
exactly, yeah,
away, he's got to be on the front of that
of course,
football
yeah.
club, mate.
But we
Because you
said
know
that,
what, the hands down.
yeah, we said down Twitter, to be fair, that they either like part of the ground or more should be.
Mate, there's a truth. Yeah, legend, right? People use legend. Lad, it doesn't get any more than that for one football club, 33 years as the
Yeah,
manager. It
yeah,
doesn't, it's the biggest respect you could probably give his family, that.
yeah. I think also it's like when you leave it, and include Young in this. To be fair, when after you can tell a lot about someone kind of how to spoke to afterwards, and I think like
Yeah,
the way people speak about obviously volley out and obviously duration and obviously people speak about
correct.
we've done a million and I think that's like how good they've been having you kind of thing.
100%. And you know what? I didn't know Rowley,
Yeah,
but I knew him because of how yous and how the football clubs spoke about him.
yeah,
So I used to sit there thinking, wow. And when he passed away and you hear the way people talk, and you take a step back and you think, wow.
yeah,
Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? That's the difference.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
So we need
But,
we need to get that painting outside then.
100%, 100%. So I think we will do, and I think as you said, it'd just be nice for his family as well, isn't it? Because
I
like,
agree. I
yeah,
agree. I totally
yeah,
agree
nice.
with that. For
So
sure.
obviously, where do you, obviously in your view, like where do you see this club going? I know you mentioned it, but what's your like vision of it was going? And also, have you learned, in the first few months of the season, if there's anything you have learned?
Uh, yeah, I think the football club has the potential in terms of since I've been here and since just getting to know it. Because before I come, I just, I come into Marine occasionally. I'd go past it. I didn't know the football club in terms of what it was about, like the way you are, the structure. Where my, I think it can get to wherever it chooses to get to. In terms of all I can focus on is producing a team that I believe can get us to the end of the table where we want to challenge.
Yeah,
That's my that's my ambition. That's the reason why I took this job. And some people see that as pressure. It's not. It's not pressure. It's having a belief that there's no point in doing something if you're not going to aim for the top. Um, I'm realistic, but you've still got to set the bar and set the standards at that level. And I think Marine as a football club can get there. Do I think we're ready to get there right now? Probably not, but we go with it, don't we? We go with it because what comes with going or trying to challenge that end is it comes at a bigger cost.
yeah. Is it
It
exciting as
co-
well? Is it exciting for you as well? Like in terms like I know to talk about the new ground and that could only be a few years away. Is it exciting you to think that you could be the one that like leads them into that new ground?
100%. I my my ambition and my goal at Marine is to leave. If I ever leave Marine or I ever, get sacked by Marine, because listen, it's football. It's you know, I want Marine to be in the best possible position than when I took over.
Yeah,
So, my ambition is to one day hopefully be leading Marine as a full time team.
yeah,
That's a huge ambition of mine. Do I think we're far away from that? No. But there's still a lot of work to do on that. But I honestly, I honestly believe that we can get there.
yeah,
I honestly do, and I wouldn't say that outside of our club because people want to hear you, blah blah blah.
yeah,
But in terms of what we've got, I don't think Marine are a million miles away from that. I honestly don't. I think you should love that. I think
yeah,
you should deserve that
yeah,
based on what you do. And I think Marine will always find a way. So I know I say we're a million miles away, but we found a way to here.
yeah.
So
it's quite incredible. They like watching it now. I mean, I've only been going 10 years. Like, people have been going a lot longer than me. Like, obviously when we started this group, we were getting like 200 fans, like maybe about five away fans. So when you see like even Leamington the other week, when probably only about 40, 50 of us, but
yeah, yeah.
that would never have happened like 10 years back. Do you know what I mean? Like, so
Mate, see that Leamington trip.
yeah,
Do you know the lads after the game, mate? Were talk. Jack Drysdale come in and was singing the songs you were singing, mate. So that shows, right, how you might not think it, but then
yeah,
players were coming in and were like, "Hey, how good were they?
yeah,
How good were they?" And you know what, mate, it was so good that Leamington one. Swear, you're at the lads and the lads sing them songs now. So they'll come into training and you'll hear them singing singing the songs.
but that's the effect, isn't it? Is when you start drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning on the train.
Brilliant, lad. Brilliant. But again, it's creating that environment and them vibes, mate, where you feed off it.
Yeah,
So the players feed off it 1 million, and you know what? We should have been 4 or 5 there. But
yeah,
the players feed off that energy
yeah.
100%.
That's what I'd like to. I mean, obviously, I won't put you on the spot saying this, but like for me personally, I'd love to see that at home, to be honest, because I do feel like away from home. Obviously, you are drinking and stuff like that. I get it, and
Yeah.
that's the way it is. But I'd love to like transfer. It's the home forms, the home support's good, like, but just I'd love it to be like that. You know what I mean? Like,
I look at and I'm one of them people, me mate. I am what I am. You'll ask me a question. I think this place could be so much louder
yeah, yeah, I
because
agree.
I see our away fans and I see the way we go about it away from home in terms of our away fans,
Yeah,
and I just did this place because I've heard it before,
yeah, yeah,
and I wouldn't say it if I've heard it. I've played here, I've
yeah,
heard it, and I've heard it absolutely. And no, the opposition
yeah,
hate it because you know what? It's hostile. It's like
yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
the, you're running past them and on the pitch you're giving stick out and you've got all the fans giving stick out and the players are like, whoa, now are
It
you
was
playing again?
it was like after the game, really. Afterwards, I don't know if he was still on the pitch, but he was getting absolutely felt.
Mate, and that's how it should be. Because you
Yeah,
know what? I was in this office, and I could hear it. So it was that loud, right? I could hear it, and I'm like,
yeah,
"Who's that to?" When the staff come in, I went, "Who's that to?" They were like, "Lad, that was to the ref," and I was like, "Wow." But that's what we want. That's
yeah.
what we want. You know what I mean? And our lads, they feed off it, and if they're not,
Yeah.
then you have a right to say to me, any fucking chance here or what?
No, I agree. Like, I mean, as I said, it's not criticism of people who go with him, like, because everyone's it is good support, but I do agree. It could be just showing me it could be a lot better. And as I said, when it is like that, and there is games where it has been like that. I know every
Yeah,
game.
it's brilliant.
I know every game you can't do. Like, it's not like that, but when it is
But
like
when it's
that,
not, my other point to that is, and that's what I say to the lads, when it's not like that, you have to get them like that.
yeah, yeah, of course, yeah,
So it's a two-way street.
yeah,
And I'm as honest with the players. I say this to them. I say, lads, you want them to sing? I said, I've been here. Fucking iron someone out. Hit a shot. Make the keeper work. Go on a run. Do something
yeah.
that gets them going. And once you get them going, keep doing it. Because if you keep doing it, they'll get excited. And when they get excited, they won't shut up.
Well, one game that reminds me of that was I don't know if you remember, it was Worktop. Remember? And I can't remember what.
Yeah.
I think it might have been an altercation with you and their centre back actually,
Yeah,
and the crowd just turned,
I
didn't
had
it?
a
Yeah,
bit with him, didn't I?
yeah, and the crowd just turned, and I think Matty Waters was it scored like a 97-minute bar in.
Yeah, never forget it. And that was
Yeah,
that's what I try and say to our lads. Lads, it's about the package, and these people will feed off it if you
yeah,
give it to them because you're representing them, and they will do that on. If they were on the pitch, they'd do it.
yeah,
So you have to give them stuff to go at.
yeah, of course, yeah. Obviously, last question for you, really. Like, obviously, you've touched on the fans. Like,
Yeah.
how important are the fans? I know you've already really said that, to be honest. And obviously when we're talking about the amateur, what do you want to see tomorrow? Because it's a big game against a big football league team there, and you want to put them like you want to make them uncomfortable kind of thing, don't you? So
Yeah,
what's your
100%.
message kind of for them?
I just want our fans who, since I've came to Marine, me personally, to me, they've been incredible to me, my family, to I can't thank them enough for what you have done for me in terms of how you treated me, how you welcomed me here, and the support you give me personally. So I know what it takes, and I know what you want, and I know where you. So all I ask is they come and support the team, which I know they will. But as you
Yeah,
said there, that noise is infectious,
yeah,
especially against big teams, because big teams sometimes your players just need that lift.
yeah, yeah,
And if they're not giving you the lift, then it's you'll hear me.
yeah,
You'll hear me. And if you
yeah,
don't, then after the game you have a right to give it to them yourselves.
yeah,
Because if I'm asking like you do to get behind the lads, then they have to give you something back. And if they don't give you something back, they'll fucking know about it. It's as
yeah,
simple as that.
yeah,
Because as I've said, when I took this job, and it'll always stick with me, without yous, we don't have a football club.
yeah,
And that is as true as it comes. So we have to produce a performance of not even so much the quality, the fight, the determination, the intensity. Because if you produce that represents us and yous, then the quality will come
yeah. Also,
because you're operating at that level. Do you know what I mean? So I know the fans are with us. I know the fans back us, and they're enjoying what we're doing. But I just want them to understand that there's so much more work to be done. There's so much more because we don't want to stop here.
yeah.
We wanna go. We wanna have a go.
Yeah, as I said, I think as you said about what Drysdale came in and said that, isn't it? It's as I said, it's not criticism of fans. It's more the fact that I'm not too sure some fans maybe realise, especially some like people who go home, realise how much of an
Mate,
impact you
hey,
had on using it. You know what I mean?
Michael, it's massive.
Yeah,
Honestly, God, and even more so at this level,
yeah,
because when I didn't know when I come to Marine, I didn't know how passionate you were.
yeah,
It's frightening, and that's why I love my time here, because I look at it and I think people say, well, it was the most enjoyable. Well, I look at that season and that Macclesfield game, and people say to me, in your career, I know you played in the Championship town, it's irrelevant. That day, right, will live with me forever,
yeah,
forever. And to do it the way we done it, and that end be packed out like that, mate, that shows me, right, that the support network is there at this football club. The
yeah,
noise is there at this football club because I've seen it. I've
yeah,
seen it. So anyone who tells me it's not, any other person from any other who tells me it's not, it's there. It's in video. It's there.
yeah. But
So maybe quite a few people need some throat lozenges, mate. They might have lost their voices.
yeah, I'll give them some of them dual pinters of it. That might work.
Well, that's another thing, mate. We get the club to put them big, large bevies on, and then we'll be bouncing, won't we?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the players need them sometimes as well.
I just want to say thanks for this for the podcast, Bobby. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, mate.
I think it's good that you've done it because I think like fans can watch this and get see people watch the interviews and that, but if you
Yeah,
it's good like ours, get to really like a good opinion of yourself, and then
of course.
I think you've been
Michael,
brilliant.
any time you need or anything you want, just let me know, mate, and I'll sort it for you.
That's brilliant, mate. Thanks so much for your
No
time.
problem at all. And if you ever want to come into the office and do one, just let me know and you can
Yeah,
come in.
I will do. Thanks very much,
All
bro.
right, mate. Top man, Mike.